So here's my prediction about the story about the military parade. I'm going to call BS on it, and for two reasons. All right. Now, if you were to not use my two reasons, and you were just to look at the fact that it's been reported and that it's been apparently confirmed by a few different sources, you'd say, well, it's reported, it's confirmed, it's probably true. Let me tell you the two things working against the theory that it literally is, that literally there's an idea to have a military parade in the United States. The first one is that it's what I call too on the nose. That's a Hollywood sort of a scriptwriter phrase. If you're writing a script and you're having somebody act too much in character, just too exactly like the character would act, it doesn't feel real. It's just a little bit too on the nose, they call it. So hearing a story in the news that this particular president, who's being actively accused of being an autocrat, people are accusing him of being a dictator in the making, and they offer as evidence that he's attacking the FBI and the institutions, etc. Now, if that's one of your biggest criticisms, what are the odds that the president, who is, in my view, according to the persuasion filter, one of the best branders and persuaders we've ever seen, not just as president, but as a human being? You've never seen anybody who's better at branding and persuasion. He understands the power of the visual, etc. Now, he would have to know that having a military parade when everybody's when his enemies are accusing him of being an autocrat and accusing him of being a dictator, having a big public visual show that just looks like North Korea would be exactly, I don't know why you're saying that Dershowitz is on, because I'm actually tuned to it and he's not on. Let me see if there's something going on here. Is he on CNN? You're saying he's on Fox News, but he's not on there right now, according to my television. All right, I'm going to ignore the people who are saying, I'm on Fox. I'm watching it right now. It's on commercial. All right, so here's my argument that the military parade is probably not being discussed, at least in the way it's being reported. There might be some kind of conversation that sounds like that. But number one, if you were to create a hoax or a prank, the best way you do it is you create something that people are primed to believe. So the best hoax is something that would be impossible to believe except for the person who's believing it. In other words, an objective observer would say, well, that's not true. I mean, it's obviously not true. Just listen to it. It just doesn't even sound true. But there are people who would believe it, and that's what makes it a good prank. So saying that the President of the United States is going to do something that would be more reminiscent of a communist dictator is so on the nose that it feels more like a prank than it feels like something that's real. All right? Now, some have suggested that it was a way to catch a leaker. In other words, if the news came out, then you'd know who the leaker was because only, one person was told about it or whatever. I'm not sure that's the case. But so first of all, it sounds like a hoax because it's too on the nose. That's always a tell. That's not confirmation that it's a hoax, but it should be a flag, right? When you see something that's too perfectly in character, just the way you would make a hoax if you were going to make one, sounds a little bit too much like The Onion. That doesn't mean it's not real, but it should raise a flag. It should elevate your skepticism. And then the second thing is that would the best persuader and brander in the world make a mistake that obvious? Especially when there are lots of advisors to tell you it's a mistake. I can't believe it. But let me go on record here. I'm going to go on record, okay? I do understand that a visual display of American military might, especially because visual displays are powerful, would be good, let's say, good positioning to show our strength. You could make that argument. You could say that it might make our competitors a little more worried. Maybe that's good. You could make that argument. But overall, the visual of playing right into the hands of your critics, who are calling you a dictator, by any measure, would be a serious mistake.